Welcome back, everybody, to the Now at Night podcast. Happy New Year, 2025. Now, sorry, I blinked. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, right.
Welcome back. Here we
It
are.
seems
How are
like
you
we
doing?
were. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm I'm here, I mean, what is it? January 16th. Sales kickoffs next week for the whole
Nice.
ServiceNow team. I'm just trying to catch up, I think. I'm still in 2024. What about you?
We are still there. I'm honestly in 2022, if I'm.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's be real.
Yeah. So, how was your
Yeah.
holiday? Did you do
It
anything
was
fun?
good. No, I stayed local, just with the family. I went and visited the grandparents.
That's awesome.
Christmas was good, holidays was good, Happy New Year was fine. Had a couple family members get COVID, but everyone's healthy now, clean bill of health,
Awesome.
so no issues there. Yeah, family wise, everyone's doing great. My grandfather just had his 71st birthday. And
Happy
yeah, we're
birthday.
just, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so everyone's doing really well. Yeah, I can't complain. How about you? How was your end of new year and everything?
Awesome. Honestly, it was pretty much the same. Didn't really do much. I stayed local. I did not even leave San Diego, to be frank.
Oh,
Family
wow.
came over. Yeah, that was incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
usually you're
had
traveling everywhere.
yeah,
Love it.
had family come over, exchange Christmas gifts at home. That was fantastic. I arguably got honestly one of the best gifts I've ever gotten, and it came from my sister, which we always have this relationship where I criticize the gifts that she gives me all the time.
Oh,
And this
cool.
time
I
I
love
was
it.
like,
Yeah.
damn, this is like one of the best gifts I've ever gotten. Like, how did you think of that? And then she was like, I asked your ChatGPT, and I was like, oh, damn, it does know me.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so wild. That's really
Yeah.
cool though. I love
Yeah.
that you share that dynamic too, especially with the technology, like how that can be transcribed into, gifts and as well as
Exactly.
just like learning about people. Um,
Exactly.
Kind of ironically, like my brother similarly started to use like AI and was kind of showing me some things that I didn't even know about. And I'm like, wow, you know more about this. And it's because, people are just taking the time to start, tinker and figure out how these AI things are working. So
Mhm.
it's quite fascinating, I think. I think it's an
Really
exciting
is.
time to see what things are doing. On that note, you mentioned gifting, and I actually forgot. I actually got a new pet.
Oh,
I got a bearded dragon.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know if I had announced that on one of our other episodes, but yeah, I have a bearded dragon. His name is Cypher.
Oh,
So kind of like Cypher, like the algorithm security Cypher, but also Cypher from the Matrix. So he's
oh,
actually,
nice.
of course, the arch nemesis in the entire plot of the movie at the end. But
Yeah.
very interesting creatures and dragons, but
Mm-hmm.
and
I bet.
learning a lot. Been long, yeah. It's been very interesting to learn about them, their habits, feeding, and all these things. So that's been also keeping me occupied on the side. So
That is awesome. Does he get
that's
along with your chickens?
yes, chickens have accepted Cypher. The dogs, not so much.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They just think he's some very strange looking dog with very scaly legs and a tail, with no fur. So it's very interesting when they look
Yeah.
at and bark a lot. But
Yeah, they're like, why isn't it barking back?
yeah, exactly. It's like, why is it up there and not down here?
Yeah.
Seems to have a much nicer home and can sunbathe whenever it wants. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's, been the biggest news in my life.
That's
Other
awesome.
than that, pretty much smooth sailing. So, just getting ramped up for the new year. Starting to see a lot, of course, all these different trends happening across the spaces.
Hmm.
Of course, you heard TikTok now. This might be banned.
Hmm.
Of course, there's more AI news everywhere. There's more emerging technologies. So it's a lot.
Really is.
We're going to have a
It
very
really is.
busy, busy year. But with that, I'm looking forward to bringing on more, hosts and more guests as well, with the podcasts. So I'm really excited to start seeing just all these different experiences and starting to promote that out, within the space. I think podcasts honestly will become the new way and I think the new staple to really promote the real news. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Because I think there's so much misinformation now. Facebook now is now trying to say that, hey, we've got a way to, just completely go back to the old ways.
Hmm.
And it's so interesting. You can just toggle back the original Facebook, with freedom of speech and no policies, etc. But we've matured so much as I think as a society and as a nation. I think now it's time to just start our own podcasts really and speak
Like,
out what we truly believe in, but also value, but doing it in a kind way, right? And I
mm-hmm.
think we can all do that very safely. And so, yeah, it's just a great way to connect. And I'm glad that you and I are able to still continue this podcast in the new year. We've got a lot of
Absolutely.
exciting hosts coming up,
Yep. And a
but
lot of exciting updates too.
yeah, a lot of exciting updates, many, many updates. Do we want to give one of the updates about the latest, the website? Do you think that's something we want to
Yeah, let's go
bring
for
up?
it.
Great. Well, after we post this episode, for those tuning in on the Now at Night podcast, we are going to be launching officially our nowatnight.com. Yes, you heard that. We have an official domain. It's been in the
Woo!
works. We've been cooking in the kitchen. That's right. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Get those woos and the air horns in there. We're excited. I sure am. I know this has been something that we've been working on and heavily invested into when Nasser and I first started talking about this idea. We really wanted to make this a community and a safe
Absolutely.
space to have anybody and everybody come on and just speak
Mm-hmm.
their piece and their wisdom
Absolutely.
and any adventures that they're looking to aspire. Let's make sure that we continue to inspire that as we have these different communications. So nowatnight.com officially live, ready for you to visit. We'll have links, of course, posted on our LinkedIn. And of course, you'll be able to access Apple Music, Spotify, right? All the different streaming services
Absolutely.
all on one single page. And for those who want to have any type of inquiries, personal business doesn't matter. We have a nice little contact form, 3 fields, and you're in, hit send, and the rest is history. One of us will get
Exactly.
in contact with you and we'd love to have you on 30 45 minutes for however long. Honestly, we would
Yeah.
love to just have you on and do these fun discussions and episodes, because it's something we love to do and very passionate about. So that is
Absolutely.
the last promotion there.
Yeah, yeah. And also, we are going to be, as Chris mentioned, launching on other media platforms. I've gotten this feedback personally where not
Yeah.
everyone is on Spotify and not everyone owns an Apple product or use Apple podcast. So for that, I'm trying my best to kind of put us all over. So that
It's
entails us going on YouTube, also on Amazon Podcasts. And if there are any
great call
other
out.
Exactly. Any other platforms that you're interested in seeing us on, please do let us know and we'd be more than happy to accommodate.
Yes, that is a good plug. YouTube is another massive platform. We're looking to break into that space,
Hmm.
both for video content as well as, of course, the audio side. And then Amazon Music, great call out. Completely
Yeah.
forgot about that. That's another place that I've also heard feedback from some of our listeners and just creating more ubiquitous spaces where we can start to transpire those episodes. So we want to
Hmm.
make sure that we have all that feedback. So again, if you do have that feedback, probably the quickest way to get out reached out to us is LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Of course, if you want to send an inquiry officially on our website, you can do that, but probably the quickest way is LinkedIn. One of us will, of course, make sure we have those services up and running and those episodes from one until however many, hopefully a
Yeah.
million. Uh, that's the goal. Maybe we get to 100 and we'll see where we go from there. And
Okay.
but yeah, we really appreciate that feedback. So great call out, sir.
Awesome. And with that, and let's introduce our guest for today, for this week's episode is going to be Jeremy Duncan. Jeremy Duncan is one of the architects on the ServiceNow platform, and we're going to get to know him a little bit more, how he got into ServiceNow, and what advice he has for everyone who is interested in joining ServiceNow or any of the other tech fields. So with that, let's go over to our conversation with Jeremy. Yeah.
All right. The Now at Night podcast. I'm extremely exhilarated. I am ecstatic. Too many adjectives, too many words. Maybe I need ChatGPT to help me transcribe exactly how I'm feeling. I'm in an emotional state of just joy. We have Jeremy Duncan, ladies and gentlemen, on our podcast, and I'm extremely excited and really happy to have him as part of our cohort. We've really been trying to facilitate more exciting and just really getting more genuine with the human aspect of how we talk and engage with all these different types of people we meet in the community of not just ServiceNow, but all the geeks and unsung heroes. So, Jeremy, I would love to go ahead and just let you have the microphone, let everyone know who you are, provide a little bit of background on what you're currently working on, and we'll start the conversation from there.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
thanks, Chris. First of all, the honor and pleasure is all mine. I'm excited that you would have me on. And being called a geek is an honor as well. I can remember when I first met my wife, she had a coffee mug that said "I heart geeks," and I'm like, yeah, that's right.
That's the one.
That's it.
So I definitely resemble that remark. Nerd, geek, whatever. Yeah, my name is Jeremy Duncan, as Chris mentioned. I've been a ServiceNow geek and evangelist for 13 years now. I started, well, a little more than that now. We're in the 14th year. I started as a customer on the summer release of 2011, so pre-Aspen, and I've had the pleasure to build on this platform from A to Z, right? I'm excited about getting to Z, and then we start over again. For those who maybe missed it on LinkedIn, it's floating around the next names that will be out until 2038. So you should go check that out. I've not validated that, but it looks pretty official to me.
I've actually heard that was a rumored kind of leak.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
rumored. I haven't seen it internally, so that's why I
Yeah.
say use caution and
Yeah.
things may change, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, outside of ServiceNow, I think I'm just a purist geek at heart. I've done everything from systems engineering to rack and stack and servers. I've got a mutual interest with Chris here in the SecOps space. I spent time managing web application firewalls, learning everything there is to know about security, and I just love it and love the topic. But I've found myself in my career being more of a utilitarian, kind of focusing on many areas of the business. I feel like maybe my ADD kicks in a little bit and I can't focus on just one thing. I got to focus on like 10 things at a time. So I think that's what led to me being a part of the Certified Master Architect program. It gave me the ability to learn even more. And I'm on my second renewal of that now. So I'm honored to be a part of that group of professionals, and I'm here as a fellow geek and obviously a lover of our product.
So, Jeremy, for those who don't really know what is the Certified Master Architect, those who are outside of the ServiceNow world, can you explain to them what that program is and what exactly are the requirements to hold such a highly, honestly respected certificate in ServiceNow?
Absolutely. I think it encompasses many different positions that you see in the ecosystem. So when I started off in ServiceNow, I started as a kind of a jack of all trades. I would spend some of my time doing business analysis. So in the professional world or in the implementation world, that's considered a BPC. And then I spent time as a developer. I had to ramp up pull out some of my programming skills from my college days and be a developer, and then moved into more structured view of the platform, which I guess gave me the title of architect. So
Nice.
I think it requires, just in short, it requires multiple areas of expertise. I don't consider an architect a senior developer only, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't consider it an expert sales and marketing expert of the platform. I think it takes many years of practice
Yeah.
and real implementation experience to truly be that CMA grade person. I have people coming to me that say, hey, I've got a couple of years on the platform. I'm an architect now. I want to be a part of the CMA. I'm not saying that people aren't smart enough to get through it, but I think to truly encompass what it means to be a master architect on this platform, you need to have many years of experience, and that includes implementation. That
Absolutely.
includes seeing things from the business side, seeing things from the technical side, and being able to communicate to the executive leadership and the sponsors that you'll be working with these organizations. You have to build trust. And so but for those that don't like that part, so I think what sets apart the CMA from the CTA, the Certified Technical Architect, is the desire to present those solutions to people who are making decisions. Some people would prefer to be the widget maker. Let me fix it. Just give me the requirements. I'll go do it. CTA might be your path, right? If you couldn't care less about creating architectural blueprints, looking at 2 to 3 years down the road, putting pieces of the platform together that really meet the business cases, using innovative approaches to get to that business case. If none of that really interests you, or it interests you very little, I wouldn't recommend spending time on the CMA just yet. Now, what I do see often are folks that wear that senior developer hat that say, I want to get more strategic. I want to understand what's going on in the business that I'm working with, so that I can fix their long-term problems instead of just fixing the short-term stuff. Then at that point, I think that's a smooth transition right into the CMA program.
Absolutely. And also for our listeners, CTA is the Certified Technical Architect program, which I recently just completed. And to be frank with you, I've been on the platform for almost 6-7 years now. And I have developed on the platform. I've worked on implementations. I've done all of the different works that you can really do on the platform. So I thought this is going to be a walk in the park. But it really did humble me a lot, because during the program, I was exposed to things I've always known, but I never really thought about them the way that the program presents it to you. And it also does a great job of basically teaching you how to speak to executives and how your pace should be and the different tones and what that exactly entails. So not only does it focus on ServiceNow, but it also does focus on the delivery. And yeah, for our listeners, if you're interested, it's a great thing to honestly invest in. It is a long investment, time-wise and money-wise, but it's definitely worth it.
I agree wholeheartedly. And there are many other programs out on our Now Learning site that you should check out. We've got our ArcX program. We've got the different workflow specialties. There's a lot of stuff that our training organization's putting out, and it is top-notch content. Absolutely. I can speak from experience. It's great stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, we are hopefully working toward the ServiceNow University. So hopefully we can see that an actual project in the future.
Yeah. I believe in it, and I think we have the content to truly provide that university experience.
Absolutely. So, Jeremy, for our listeners, before ServiceNow, how did you really fall into that, and what was your career before ServiceNow?
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, I've got experience in other areas of IT. I started off in hands-on desktop support. I worked in a distribution center where I worked on anything that touched the network. We had a little offsite data backup that I managed at that location. And then I wanted to learn more, right? So I would say my career, if you look back over the career, it was what's propelled me forward is the desire to want to learn more. And so I think that's what led to ServiceNow, to answer that question. As that desktop engineer, I focused on things that we could do to make life easier for the people that were working behind the scenes. I was always a process guy.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the day my boss, Jim Garrett, we still meet for coffee quite regularly. He pulled me into so I was at the offsite at the warehouse, and he pulled me into our corporate headquarters where he worked and managed an entire infrastructure and operations team. They managed our whole data center. They did all that stuff. He said, I want to focus on your career, and I want to hear what you want to get out of it. And I said, I'm kind of bummed because I feel like a utilitarian. I feel like I want to be that ace in the hole. I want to be that Chris Walker that's SecOps to the max, or I want to be that, M. Naser who's the AI to the max. I want my thing. I want my one thing. I want to be that. And I'm not saying you guys are only those things. That's what I know you as, right? I know you as those rock stars in those spaces. But I found myself just kind of being that jack of all trades. I put my hands on anything. And again, I think I'm just an undiagnosed ADD person.
I'm with you, brother.
I just can't focus on the one thing. So he said, but what I've noticed about you is that you do want to fix things. You want process to be better. So he goes, And this was in 2011. He goes, we went to a Gartner conference and the ServiceNow booth was there and we bought it. And we need to fix our processes here within the IT group. And then we want to expand from there. So my passion in IT led me to build basically the IT service management framework for Lifeway, the company I worked at the time. And then that propelled me into other things. So while I was there and had ITSM, I'd say under control, I started building CSM before CSM was a thing. So I was using what is now called App Engine, which back then was just an additional license to go create things on the platform, which is what Fred Luddy, our founder, wanted people to do. I took that and I said, customer service is having some issues here, right? They're not logging calls, they're taking notes on a pen and paper, and it's hard to keep up with. So let's use our platform and let's expand. So that led to other opportunities. I moved to Tractor Supply. I moved to other organizations and implemented again. But then I got more and more under my belt. So I focused on, I had good relationships with our CISO at the time at Tractor Supply. And I said, hey, ServiceNow would be great for GRC, for the risk and compliance pieces that you're trying to focus on. Look at this. And so I architected a solution there that helped not only fix IT, it helped customer service, it helped our app dev group, it also helped our CISO group as well.
Wow.
And so over time, my desire to fix process and then marry that to a tool that to a platform that I know can wrangle all of those things together, just kept the ball moving. So I look back on that initial conversation where my boss said, let's use that utilitarianism. I think that's a word. And let's marry that to a platform that I think will give you the runway to do that. And since then, I can't thank him enough because that was the opportunity to learn this amazing product that we have that continues to grow, continues to blow my mind, and continues to solve real world problems for our customers. It's amazing. It's not a marketing and sales pitch. It's the truth. It's just the absolute truth.
It's really always funny how whenever I'm speaking about ServiceNow, I'm really passionate about the company. So I'm not talking about it as an employee or someone who used to work in sales and is pitching the product. I am genuinely talking about it because I believe that it does solve problems. So I completely agree with you on that. And honestly, a call out to managers all out there who know and recognize potential in people. Those are the actual leaders who are kind of carving the path for individuals to grow and to become the next Jeremy Duncan. So a shout out to your old boss.
I continue to thank him. And honestly, it's what's it's fueled my passion for mentoring others who want to get into this space who wouldn't normally think they could. You would be amazed at the people. I got a text message, no joke, last night on my way home. My trash guy, really nice guy. He stopped me one day and said, "What do you do, Mr. Jeremy?" And I said, "Well," so I gave him my elevator pitch, and I said, more than what I do, I enjoy helping other people get into the space. So he texted me last night and said, "Hey, I've got a niece who wants to get into the computer world, and she's got some experience, and I would love to put you two together." That to me, I have so much fire and passion for that, helping others, and I attribute that back to my manager, Jim Garrett, who really believed in me and was able to take the skill sets that I have and apply that to a career.
Absolutely. So. And honestly, that's also a great call out, honestly, is that we often have some sort of intimidation to reach out to people and ask them about their experience, how did they get to where they're at, or if there is anything that they can help you with. And we tend to forget that we're all humans. We can just kind of drop that and honestly send us all a message, send us an email, send us whatever you want and get in touch with us. I feel like we all have the potential of helping others. And calling out myself here, and I'm sure you guys too also agree, is that if you want us to help you in any way, shape, or form, or just teach you about what we do, or how can we bring you on what we do, we absolutely are more than happy to do that.
Absolutely. People reach out on LinkedIn all the time asking questions, and I try my best to get to everyone. There are a lot of people out there who could be game changers in this ecosystem. They just
Absolutely.
don't even know it. One quick little story. I was at Lowe's and I was trying to pick out the best electric weed eater and blower combo set, and I had this young gentleman walk up to me and say, "How can I help you?" Really nice and unusual for the demographic, the age that he was. Most people are not helpful these days and don't want to talk at all. And he was like, "Hey, how can I help you? Can I answer any questions?" And after I got to the end of that conversation, Chris, you might appreciate this. I recognized a fellow geek in him. I was like, this guy knows more about batteries and technology than the average Lowe's employee. And so I just straight up asked him. So back to your point, I said, "Hey man, are you techie at all?" Like he goes, "Yeah, I'm actually going to the community college down the road for my computer science degree." I said, "I have an invitation for you if you want to take it." So we got our friends and family, and by the way, an encouragement for those ServiceNow employees out there that still have any left. Unfortunately, I've not unfortunately, fortunately, I've given all of mine away, but it's access to free or now learning
Yeah.
content for free. And so I gave him one of those and he accepted. Haven't heard back from him. It's not been long enough to expect anything from that yet. But it just goes to show, like, you never know who you run into or who you're talking
Absolutely.
to that could really, again, apply their knowledge,
Hmm.
change their career trajectory by aligning with a product like we have, right? It's just a game changer.
Absolutely.
And that honestly could be life changing for somebody. And for our listeners, if you don't have your tissue boxes, I apologize because I mean it's very powerful what Jeremy's saying, what Nasser's saying, right? I'm a big fan of Ted Lasso. I don't know if you've ever seen that show. He drops some pretty good knowledge quotes and some great things, but living in the moment, it's a gift. Something really sticks to me because those moments at Lowe's, right? Those moments when you're at the grocery store, had a funny story. I met somebody wearing my ServiceNow shirt, and they were like, "What does ServiceNow do?" And just having this conversation, come to find out, they're 2 doors down the road from me. We've been neighbors all this time, didn't even know it. Now we swap stories about technology and trying to get your college kids into, programs like ServiceNow. And
Yeah.
now we're best friends, right? And it's
Yeah.
just that it's that conversation, but it's like a firewall. Everyone has this firewall in front of them. It's like, I understand we
Absolutely.
have firewalls, but let the technology do the firewall. But as
Absolutely.
humans, we need to be accepting that those ports should be open. I should be able to
Hmm.
network with you, and we should be able to communicate and
Hmm.
love and be kind and show empathy because all I hear is you might have a challenge, but we're all willing to grow. So let's grow
Absolutely.
together, right?
Absolutely.
So I love that you shared that story, Jeremy. I just wanted to call that out.
Yeah, and Chris, just a call out to you, not to make this a big love fest, but I appreciate
No, we
I
love it.
appre I
Love it. No.
appreciate how human focused you are. I mean, when I first met you, and especially in person, man, getting that big hug and
Yeah.
just the communication that we have offline, and your posts on LinkedIn, I absolutely love how human focused you are and wanting to get the word out and wanting to continue to make people's lives better. I mean, that's your spirit, and I love that about you, man. And I appreciate
Appreciate
that.
that. Appreciate that. Appreciate everyone here on this beautiful call today. So let's keep the good times rolling. I actually had a really good question for you, Jeremy. I've seen a lot of your posts as well, following in the journey as well around artificial intelligence. And a lot of questions I get in general about AI is, what's going to be the best way for me to prepare for this kind of, maybe AI awakening where we're
Hmm.
going to start seeing more jobs, more roles and responsibilities really transition and shift. I don't think AI is going to take jobs at that mass scale. What I think is going to happen is, right, prompt engineering is going to become that staple. That's going to be the
Hmm.
front line and the foundational starting point for the platform. My question is, how can folks out there listening start to prepare themselves? And what would you recommend just anyone just trying to get into AI? What would be a great place to start, knowing that obviously ServiceNow does AI, but what from your experience has been helpful for you to really grasp what is AI and how can I start to practice prompt engineering and really understand the benefits, the value, and the effectiveness that I can maintain, right? Creating healthy boundaries, but I can maintain a healthy relationship with AI that will impact my life as well as maybe even improve the trajectory of my career?
Yeah. So I would say start by not focusing on the negative that's out there.
Yeah.
I think we see examples of the negative use of AI, and that overshadows the positive. I've been very bearish on AI to begin with. I've transitioned to more bullish because I've seen real life examples of AI playing out to help make life better and more productive. Here's the reality. I'm very simple minded, and I think about AI through the lens of our brains at work and how much information we can process. You know, when we're younger, we're like sponges. We can absorb so much. And then we get to the other end of life and dementia kicks in and all these crazy things happen and we start to degrade. And then there's this time in the middle, right? And so what I wonder is AI going to help us be able to process things that we wouldn't normally or shouldn't normally have to, and
Mm.
make things easier to understand and get through, right? And so what's changed me to bullish is I don't want to waste my brain space. See, the negative energy is, oh, well, if AI does everything, we're just going to get dumber, right?
Mm.
I don't believe that wholeheartedly. I think there's some truth to, if we don't make ourselves get better at certain things, right? If we just let it go and only use AI, sure, we're going to lose the human ability to do certain things. But I think if we just replace the mundane things that we don't need to waste our brain space on, and then change what we are using our brains for, right?
Mhm.
For the emotion, for the connectivity, for the relationships, right? AI is not going to fix all of that, right? So all you salespeople, you're good, right? It's all about relationship. It's all about keeping that human heartbeat going. But I think for just the silly things, like I'll give this example, and I think you guys heard me say this, but in a program that I'm a part of, it had me record 2 minutes of a presentation. I had to present back a topic that I was supposed to understand. And I did that. And immediately upon submission, it told me how my tone was. It told me how many unnecessary words that I used, right? It understands that. And within seconds, it helped me understand how to communicate better, right?
Mhm.
I didn't have to wait for somebody to be brave enough to say, Jeremy, you say too much, right? I didn't have to have someone tell me that. It just told me. And then I could take that and then learn. To me, that's a great use of AI. And it's just one of millions that are out there. So here's what I would suggest: start simple with AI and understand how to communicate. You don't have to understand what's going on behind the scenes. You don't have to understand about RAG. You don't have to understand about LLMs. You don't have to understand this. AI is simple, right? It's the compilation of a bunch of words. It's the understanding of the human language, and it's turning, well, not, let's say data, not just language. It's understanding data and then providing an output. Most people are experiencing AI for the first time because of Gen AI. It's generative AI, which takes the human language, it understands it, and then it allows you to prompt it with questions and it gives you answers back. We've been doing that for years, folks. Google has been incorporating AI in their responses for years. ServiceNow has been in the AI game for over 5 years now. Okay, people don't understand that or don't believe it, but AI hasn't gotten its legs until generative AI came out, right? And that's what people are experiencing. So, because of that, and because of the wildfire that Gen AI has created, I would say prompt engineering, you mentioned that, Chris. Prompt engineering is the first thing. Understand how to tell the technology what you need so that you can get what you need out of it. That would be number one. Then, if you want to start chipping away at the iceberg and start understanding what technologies drive artificial intelligence, like we've used, one of the examples of artificial intelligence we've used on our platform for years is machine learning, right? We've used it for analytics, platform analytics with data. We're helping people make decisions with technology, with data that they don't have to process and use brain power to do. Does that mean that the human element goes away and that you don't need human verification? No. Does it take away the need for a human to create understanding, multi-layered understanding from the data that comes out and how it maybe impacts their organization? Not necessarily, although AI is doing a good job at that now.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say focus on the simple things and understand just the core tenets of it, and don't get confused and caught up on the negative things, because I do believe AI is going to be a game changer. And what I'm long on and what I'm betting on is that the medical how can the medical advancements we're going to get from this is going to be insane. The fact that
Absolutely.
the fact that my doctor can upload the things that I deal with. Most people don't know this about me, but it's not a secret. I have MS, multiple sclerosis, and I see a world-renowned doctor at Vanderbilt, and he takes copious notes every time we meet. And he goes, "How do you feel? What's this?" All of those notes get journaled, and he speaks at conferences, right? So he takes his database of clients and he finds commonalities. The days of having to take human brain power and find similarities, you can't possibly absorb the amount of information that's out on medical journals, out in the NIH website and the database that they have. You can't possibly pull all those together. So think about legal, think about healthcare, think about all the things that depend on so many case studies, and then surmising answers from that. I think that the medical, legal, that whole space is going to wildly change, and I look forward to the cure for cancer. I look forward to the cure for MS. I look forward to all of the things that we're going to see in the near future. I think we're knocking on the door, and I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. And I think
Yeah.
that it also falls on us all, honestly, to find the ethical use of AI and also to understand and establish specific governance and frameworks around how we use AI, we incorporate it into our everyday life. I mean, it's always a story I tend to tell people because I get asked this a lot is, should we be scared of AI? And my answer is always the same. I mean, remember our grandparents when they were presented with the Henry Ford invention of this is how we should be manufacturing cars? People were pissed. People were like, no, this is not how we should be producing cars because that is going to take people out from the factory. And then look at us now. We cannot live
Right.
without that in the manufacturing process. So
Right.
we're
Right.
constantly going to be innovating in all aspects of life. And it falls on us to adapt to them and actually learn how can we take advantage of them rather than just claiming that they're going to take our jobs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Prompt engineering. That I think that's going to be the next wave of jobs, is understanding data, understanding how it fits in an organization, and understanding how to prompt the technology that's going to help you get the answers that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with all the statements. I appreciate that context and just enriching that specific topic around, it's life changing, but it's a global impact that we can absolutely have for everyone. And I think that's going to be the biggest part that brings that digital transformation into our world collaboration. Truly. I think that's what we're trying to envision and inspire within everybody, and get away from some of the toxic traits that we've seen out there. So we'll keep on keeping on. So I love that. Now, thinking about some fun questions I had, Jeremy, I don't actually know what you do outside of all your nerding and your nerd herd and geeking, and just I would love to know, like, what are some fun things you do outside of the work realm? Do you do your 3D printing, gaming? Like, I would just love to know what's that like one thing where it's like, clocked out, shoes are off, want to go do this one fun thing for myself, kids, family, etc. Love to know what that is, and how long you've been doing it.
Yeah, it's all family now. So before I had kids, I was a reserve police officer for the city that I live in.
Oh, wow.
And I did that for 10 years. I turned in my badge and
Wow, thank you for your
all
service.
my pleasure. I turned in all my gear in 2022, spent 10 years
Wow.
doing that, and my family supported it. But honestly, my time off of work is involved in being a family man. I've got a My
Love that.
son, my middle child, I've got three. My middle child, he's in baseball, so I've been coaching baseball for, I'd say, 6 years now.
Wow.
My oldest, my daughter, she's 13, and she's in competition dance. We're about to enter competition season, so we'll have those about every other weekend. And
Nice.
then my youngest, she's 5 or about to be 5, and she's, who knows what she's going to get into. Right now she's not in any intramural things, but whether it's going to baseball games, basketball games with my son, competition dances, or trying to help enrich my children. I've got this Christmas I bought my son an MPC, like a multi-processing controller. It's like a little keyboard, so he's doing some
Yeah.
DJ stuff. He's very musical,
Oh, I love
very
that.
creative. He plays guitar, he plays
Wow.
drums. And then
Wow.
really outside of that, I spend the majority of the rest of my time in church. So I'm a musician as well. I lead
Nice.
worship at
Love that.
my church for our middle schoolers, for our Celebrate Recovery program. And then about every fifth or sixth Sunday, I'll be on stage just for our main congregation. So definitely don't have time for games. Barely have time to watch sports on the weekend,
Yeah.
although I will take that guilty pleasure every once in a while. But yeah, it's all about the family, man, because we've got such a short time on this earth, and I feel like my biggest impact is going to be with my children,
Amen.
um, and so that's where I'm going to focus my time for now. So
It's awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
yeah.
So you mentioned that you're into music. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
Mostly Christian music, but there's all kinds of genres within that. There's Christian rap, there's country, there's rock.
Rock.
So you name it. But I grew up on. I feel like I had a pretty eclectic passion for music. I listened to everything: rap, country, rock, classic rock. There's not much that I wouldn't listen to. Classical wasn't my thing as much, but I would enjoy a good classical tune every once in a while too. A little Bach, a little Beethoven. I think I had to
Oh,
take
yeah.
some of that in college too, so it forced me to like it. Yeah.
I don't know if we asked this question, Jeremy. What instruments do you play?
Guitar, piano. I also do a little percussion, but I mostly play cajon. I don't play a full kit. But yeah, those are my three main. And I'm a vocalist. I'm primarily a vocalist, but I do play the instruments to be able to sing with. So
I love that.
Oh,
We're gonna
that's
have to get
awesome.
some karaoke going.
let's do it.
Honestly,
Well, it gets.
I honestly was gonna say we have to get you on Z-Boot.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I've been telling Sean Barrett to
Let's
let me
go.
try out for a long time.
Yeah.
Z-Boot squared. Let's go.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, Jeremy, is there anything else you'd like to share while we close out the episode? Any words of wisdom? Again, just such a blessing to have you on. I'm really glad that we were able to get this time to have you share a little bit about yourself and your life and your experiences. But I'll just pass the microphone back to you.
Yeah, I would just say I would encourage folks to believe in yourself. Know that you can do anything that you put your mind to. Don't be afraid to learn new things, because you never know what a game changer it'll be in your life, whether it's your career, whether it's your family. Always be willing to step out there. And I would say, if depending on whether you're risk averse or not, I would say if you're going to take risks, take them earlier in life before you get a family involved, because you have time to fail fast and often until you hit that successful strand. But I would say always be willing to keep your mind open and try new things. And you just never know. You never know how your life could change depending on what you latch onto. So, yeah. And thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the wise
Absolutely.
word there, Jeremy.
Absolutely. Thank you again, Jeremy. Thank you so much. Again, this has been such a pleasure. We're very much looking forward to the new year. Happy New Year to everybody out there. And everybody stay safe and stay blessed. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much. Wow. What an
That was
incredible time with
fantastic.
Jeremy. That was just fantastic. And, you know,
Absolutely.
a lot of
Heartwarming,
key
honestly.
points. Yeah. A lot of key points. I think the thing that I resonated most with Jeremy, you know, aside from just his genuine approach to how he just interacts with humans,
Mhm.
it's really having just that vulnerability, right? being vulnerable in their space and being comfortable to be uncomfortable. I think the
Mhm.
biggest thing from Jeremy that I took away from the whole discussion was just being open to the
Absolutely.
conversation, right?
Uh-huh. And helping
What was
others.
something you took away?
Honestly, helping others, it's really sometimes
Yeah,
we get lost in the moment. We are often
yeah,
too, I want to say, focused on ourselves and our own problems to notice that there are others out there who we can
yeah,
potentially help. And by helping those, we are also helping ourselves. So always be on the lookout. You never know who you might run into in your life that needs a helping hand. This is a
absolutely.
message we always advocate for here on the pod. So whatever you can help, whether that was career-wise, your time, just a listening ear, all counts, and we all out there are looking for someone that can help us in any way they can.
Yeah, I echo that absolutely, right? Reach out. And I think, LinkedIn, any of these different, media accounts, but specifically just reaching out from a human to human perspective. I think going back to just, my grandparents, they have a phone with that long cord, 50-foot long cord. That's are like, and it's just the one phone in the corner collecting dust next to a stack of Bibles and some old records. But it's honestly sometimes just picking up the phone, and then that can inspire all of this, these beautiful experiences that you and I have seen, not just through the podcast,
Mhm.
but in real life, right? Emerging
Mhm.
technologies are one thing, but if I can emerge the experience I have with humans and create more relationships and rapport with them, real humanistic, connections, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Because that's really
Absolutely.
what brings that joy, right, to that entire discussion and to that entire, experience that you're having within that moment. So, yeah, it was such a blessing to have Jeremy on. So, thank you again, Jeremy, for being on. Obviously, we're going to be continuing to take more and more hosts and
Mhm.
more guests. So, please keep those inquiries coming and reach out to us as much as you can, and we'll make sure to facilitate where our schedule can accommodate them. But I'm very much looking forward to that. And
Yeah.
then I think,
And
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that even if you don't like have you don't want to be on the pod or you just have a question or a comment or
Yes,
anything like that,
yes.
please do send them on the website and we will be addressing those on our future episodes.
That is a great call out. Yeah, I think that's a great call out there. So yeah, any questions, anything in general, we'd love to hear. So that way we can take that again, general feedback, but also incorporate that into these future episodes and discussions. There might be even that's a great call out, right? There might be topics we might want to discuss
Hmm.
that clients or listeners, not clients, but listeners want
Yeah.
to listen into. It's the sales in me, right?
Yeah.
That might want to listen to. And so yeah, but I think this is a fantastic stopping point for us all. I just want to thank
Yeah.
everyone for all our listeners. Again, happy new year. Stay safe, stay blessed. Asra, I'll let you close it out.
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening to us in 2024. Hopefully you continue the journey with us in 2025 and onward. It was a pleasure meeting or talking to Jeremy today, and it's always a pleasure speaking with you, Chris.
As always, thank you so much, Nazar. Have a great one, and we'll talk very
You
soon.
too. Talk to you
Cheers.
again next episode. Bye.